Yu-Gi-Oh! Stands out as a unique game thanks to the freedom offered by the lack of resource and color systems. However, its most unique system is also the most overlooked: the board. While Magic the Gathering uses an amorphous blob, and Pokemon offers only a distinction between active and benched, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a very defined 5x2 grid, while the inclusion of link arrows and the occasional infinite impermanence make positioning relevant. There are very few cards predicated on the idea of taking advantage of this board design, and there is no built-in mechanical purpose for it. A Pokemon player is more likely to interact with the bench than a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player is to interact with columns, and that's a shame. As we mentioned earlier, link arrows are a great system to make zones matter. Relinquished Anima can take a card across from it, but Geonator Transverser punishes a card on the right, and Shinobi Insect, Hagaku Mino, punishes one on the left. Unfortunately, these effects are few and far between, and as more link monsters are introduced, the less likely they are to reference their arrows. Arrows themselves work fine in a 5-zone system, but become even more important in a 3-zone system, like we see in Duel Links. For example, Infinite Attack Goliath is a Link 1 monster, and it points to the bottom right, allowing additional Link summons to go into your middle zone. However, if you are going first, and your opponent knows this, they are able to claim the extra monster zone first, and force your arrow to point off the board, preventing additional Link summons in your main monster zone. It is relatively niche, as players are still able to Link climb using the extra monster zone itself, but this adds a level of awareness and matchup knowledge that otherwise wouldn't exist, which I only see as a positive. Apart from Link monsters, Infinite Impermanence is the most common card to mention columns. However, it is largely a tacked on effect and boils down to being a memory check more often than not. The opponent is simply not falling victim to the spell trap negation very often. Blasting Fuse is a well-designed card, but not nearly strong enough in a world where board wipes exist. Archetypes like the S-Force and Mech Knights do a great job with the kind of effects I want to see, but I wish there were rules baked into the system that would make the positioning matter, even if column-specific effects weren't written on the cards. In a previous video, I talked about how field spells share a row with monsters, and different ways they could make it matter. Similarly, floodgates are seen as a particularly problematic thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Space, as they reduce the game to simply drawing your outs. But if a monster could attack the back row in its own column, it would be a lot more difficult for a player to sit behind a board with multiple floodgates, while also providing a new avenue for battle traps to work, and give true meaning to the phrase, "You've activated my trap" card. Monsters could also have some form of attack or defense range, meaning a monster all the way across the board no longer prevents a direct attack. Similar mechanics already exist in many RPGs, such as Pokemon's Triple Battles. The Pokemon in the middle is more vulnerable to attacks, but it has the most versatility as the only thing on the field able to choose any attack target, and it gains even more value from spread moves, hitting all 3 of the opposing Pokemon rather than just 2. As always, let's finish by talking about how I'm going to implement these mechanics in the game I'm working on. First, like in Duel Links, our board is reduced to just 3 zones, making every zone more important by itself. However, every zone is just that. Units have an attack range, indicating what zones they are able to target, but they aren't able to target any card protected by other cards in front of it. Furthermore, by allowing our units to move 1 space per turn, a weakened unit is able to hide in the back row to maintain its continuous effects, while healthy units are able to move forward into the opponent's territory and reduce the number of cards they're able to have on the field. Direct attacks only happen if there is a straight shot into the opponent's territory, but most cards are only going to have a range of 2, preventing them from attacking directly if they're in the back row themselves. One of the favorite decks I have made are the Warriors, with a large focus on invading opposing territory, but with the downside of only having 1 range themselves. It's a lot harder for them to get in and attack directly, or even to choose the attack target they want to hit. But they make up for it with powerful effects and some good support. If you want to see more about the game, feel free to join my Discord server and ask us about it. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. The top left of the screen will take you to the playlist of everything else discussing TCG theory, and the bottom left is wherever the algorithm takes you. Consider checking one of them out.